In the treachery stakes, Prince Harry far outranks royal biographer Scooby. With his new book, Scooby-Doo may be doing his best to destroy the royal family, but at least it isn't his own family.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the King YouTube channel.
Writing for the Mail on Sunday, journalist Sarah Vine alleges that Harry is actually a lot worse than Scooby. Sure, Scooby's book Endgame that comes out on Tuesday promises to be a scathing attack on the royals. But Sarah Vine is making a very good point that what Harry did to his own family is so much worse. In the Mail on Sunday, Sarah Vine writes, in his venomous new royal biography, Scooby, widely regarded as the unofficial mouthpiece for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, claims the Princess of Wales spent more time talking about her sister-in-law Meghan than she ever actually spent talking to her. Well, okay, did Meghan Markle herself write that part, or did she just tell Scooby-Doo exactly what to write? All this information is obviously coming from one source, and that is Meghan herself. Now, some of the stuff maybe comes from Harry, but this stuff about Catherine has Meghan all over it. Meghan hates Catherine. She hates Catherine because she will never be Catherine. It sounds like Sarah Vine feels like we do. She writes, I wonder where he got that idea from. And in any case, arguably the same could be said about Meghan. She passed just a few years in the royal fold, even less time as a working royal, before turning on those exquisite ankles of hers, declaring the whole lot a bunch of racist, outdated bullies, and, along with her husband Harry, flogging her tales of woe to the highest bidder. And it's true, Meghan has so much to say about her time that she spent as a working royal or as a member of the royal family, but the truth is, she was only in the inner circle for about 5 minutes before she flounced off in a huff? She has no business talking about the royal family. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And especially when it comes to Catherine. Meghan saw Catherine as her competition from the very beginning. She never opened herself up to getting to know Catherine for who she really is. She just saw Catherine as her rival. And that's why Meghan was always playing this one-sided game of one-upmanship with Catherine. Catherine couldn't care less about Meghan. Catherine was not in competition with her. It was Meghan who was so obsessed with this idea. And Sarah Vine echoes the sentiment. She wrote, in other words, she stayed just long enough to bag the frocks, jewels, titles, and the cachet, but not long enough to really get to know any of the family. When Meghan realized that she was never going to be the top dog, she convinced Harry that they had to get away. They had to go somewhere where they could be independent from the family. Of course, in their minds, though, independent meant that King Charles should still be helping them out, and also creating a lucrative career for themselves by airing the family's dirty laundry. Sarah writes, because however much people such as Scooby and maybe the Sussexes themselves might want to frame this book and others like it as noble exercises in truth-telling, the truth is that they are just milking our most famous institution for axe-grinding money. This is a point that I believe needs to be made. Scooby-Doo has claimed that this book is not going to be hammering the final nail in the coffin of the monarchy, but instead it's supposed to be a reality check. What is he doing, acting like he's helping the royal family somehow by publishing this book? He's not. He knows he's not. He knows that his sole aim in this is to make money for himself, and probably pass some along to Meghan and Harry too, since they provided him all this information. But in doing so, Scooby-Doo and Meghan and Harry show how callous, how cold and uncaring they really are. I mean, they are revealing intimate details about the lives of people who are still living. These are living, breathing human beings, and the private details of their lives are being sold for mass consumption. It's wrong. The royal family did not consent to this. Meghan and Harry bang on and on about privacy, but just look at how willing they are to invade the privacy of Harry's own family. They are such hypocrites. Sarah writes, that's not to say that the public don't have a right to know what the royal family gets up to. After all, they are public servants. But there's a big difference between biographies and documentaries, such as those curated by the Mail's estimable Robert Hardman, that detail their public roles, and those others that seek only to create drama and gossip. She added, the royal family are not mere celebrities. They are part of a long-standing and revered institution which, for many people, still stands for the increasingly rare values of dignity, duty, and discretion. It's extremely tiresome to see them endlessly traduced like this for the sake of profit. I think this point that she's making, that the royal family are not mere celebrities, is a very important point. The royal family are born into these roles. They didn't ask for it. William did not ask to be born as the Prince of Wales. Now, is he happy to accept the duties that come along with this role? Absolutely. Is he happy to serve his people? Clearly. But being willing to accept the duties that come along with a public role is very different from being open to everybody knowing all the intimate details of one's life. The thing I always come back to is the fact that Harry wrote about his brother's penis in his book Spare. How did he think that was appropriate? I cannot imagine how furious William was. That was nobody's business. We didn't need to know that. We didn't want to know that. How incredibly petty of Harry to invade his brother's privacy like that. Prince William is going to be King of England and the Commonwealth someday. His private parts should remain private. Sarah also compares the situation that Harry is finding himself in to the situation of Diana, and in her opinion, we cannot compare the two. She writes, in many ways Diana can be forgiven. She was so young and naive when she married Prince Charles and had very little support or preparation for the role. Her indiscretions were cries for help, not attempts to wound. And I believe this is a very important distinction. Diana was very young, she was very naive, and she was taken advantage of. That Bashir interview was given under false pretenses. And as far as the book, again, Diana just wanted to get her story out there. She wasn't trying to hurt her ex-husband. In fact, at the end of her life, she held no ill will towards Charles or Camilla. Harry, though, Harry is a completely different kettle of fish. Harry did all of this with the sole intention of hurting his family. As Sarah writes, Prince Harry is different. He has sadly turned out to be the ultimate self-destructive royal. That Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, his autobiography, which was one big basket of dirty royal laundry sold to the highest bidder. She goes on to say, it might be different if Harry was at least honest about this, but no, he wants it both ways, to be a royal, but also rake in the royalties. Whereas the likes of Omid Scooby are annoying leeches, Harry is much worse. The people he is using to line his pockets are his own flesh and blood. That is why his betrayal was a dagger in the heart of the late queen. It is also why he continues to be a great source of agony for his father, the king. And it is why his brother, the Prince of Wales, is rightly furious with him. What Sarah writes is absolutely true. In light of this, how dare Harry and Meghan expect to be invited to Sandringham for Christmas? How dare they expect to be invited to Balmoral for the New Year? How dare they expect to get any attention whatsoever from Harry's family after everything they have done? In my view, that is one of the most insane aspects of their behavior. They believe they can sell all this dirty laundry, they can tell all these lies, and that when they claim they're ready to reconcile, the king is going to be there waiting for them. Of course not. Sarah concludes the article writing, Harry has inflicted upon them all the very tortures he accuses others of inflicting on him, yet still he has the gall to cast himself as victim. Well, by all accounts, it looks like this royal feud is about to get a lot worse. I mean, if Harry and Meghan thought the royals hated them before, let's just wait and see what happens after this book comes out. And I know they've already claimed they had nothing to do with it. Scooby-Doo is claiming that he hasn't spoken to them in 4 years or whatever. But we know that's a big fat lie, and the royal family does too. Now, I know the royal family has a policy of not getting involved in the courts. They don't want to file lawsuits. But honestly, guys, this time, I kind of hope they do make an exception. I think Scooby-Doo has really crossed a line with this book, and also Meghan and Harry through him. So let's just see if the royal family is going to stand up for themselves in this situation, or are they going to maintain their dignified silence? And you, what do you think about the contents of this horrible new book? Please let me know your opinion below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to like and share it with anybody else who would appreciate it too. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.